This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Suffering from dry, tired, irritated eyes? Don't let dry eyes win. Use Systane Pro. It hydrates, restores, and protects dry eyes for up to 12 hours. Systane Pro. Triple action dry eye relief.
Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and this is quite an emotive session because it deals with something that I'm seeing more and more often, and it's the emotional abuse that can come from religion. And I think, even though I'm an atheist, I think lots of religions are wonderful things that, if they support empowering belief systems, kindness, respect, and love, then they're wonderful, and that could be a very good thing. Unfortunately, lots of these things, like religions, can be corrupted based on the agenda of individuals. And you see that with politics. Sometimes wars are justified based on religion. Certainly, the Crusades in the Middle Ages and lots of things, horrible things that were done in kind of Africa and Ireland and all different parts of the Americas in the name of Christianity and Catholicism, horrible. But some of the underlying belief systems can be very positive, but it can be corrupted. It can be utilized with an agenda. And this particular client had a Muslim upbringing, and their mother was unfortunately quite ignorant, not that well educated, but they used the good essence of the religion and they used it for malicious purposes, and that is to control, coerce, to strike fear in their child. So a lot of this is about breaking free from the emotional trauma and the emotional abuse, where God and religion was used not as something positive to inspire, but as a weapon to hurt and abuse. So if you can resonate with the idea of religious abuse, and you might still have belief systems that cause you shame or guilt or fear and anxiety connected to some of the religious teachings, then you might benefit from hypnotherapy. This client certainly did. Now, their situation might not be your situation. So if you like the idea of something a bit more bespoke for you, I would encourage you to do one of two things. There is a suitability test, and there's also a webinar where I describe how I work and how hypnosis can help. They're both in the description, so check them out if they are of interest. For now, though, you might get some value from this. Find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be distracted or disturbed. Relax and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in that feeling of calm, and as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to feel heavy, close, and as they close, just listen to the sound of my voice, breathing in a feeling of calm relaxation and exhaling tension. And if you need to position your body in a way that facilitates even more calm and comfort, allow yourself to do that now. That's it. Breathing in relaxation and exhaling tension. And I want you to think of the journey you've made to be here. And not just today, and not just physically, but across many years, countries, languages, losses and achievements that most people would never be able to navigate. And yet, you are here. And just give a moment to connect to a feeling of pride at how remarkable it is that you've been able to do as much as you have. Breathing in a feeling of calm relaxation as you allow the breath to come and go without interference. Of course, your body knows how to breathe. It's been breathing through everything, through the storms outside, but also the storms inside, through the years of difficulty and the years of building something real and valuable from very little. And somewhere beneath all of that, beneath the history and the accumulated weight of things carried for too long, there is a part within you that has been watching quietly, steadily, that has observed everything that has happened and has remained intact, present, unmoved at its center, even when everything around it was in motion. And this is the part of you I'm speaking to today, the observer, the witness, the part that is older and wiser than any story that has ever been told about you, either by others or by yourself. I'm going to count down from 10 to 1, and I want you to imagine being at the top of a staircase and walking down. And as I count down from 10 to 1, just imagine walking down the staircase. Each step represents a feeling of going deeper and deeper within. And maybe it's a wooden staircase, a marble staircase, or something else. 10, taking that first step. 9, just allow the body to become heavier and more at rest with each number. 8, one more step down. Feel a release of emotion. 7, another step down. And as you go down the staircase, it almost feels like the surface concerns of the day start to recede. 6, another step down. 5, halfway down now. 4, arms and legs getting heavier. 4, feeling your internal organs start to relax. Lungs, heart, stomach. Going deeper into that still, watching center. 3, nearly at the bottom of the staircase now, and 2, and 1. Feel a ripple of relaxation from your toes to the top of your head, back down to your fingertips. The staircase has taken you to a place we can call your center, a center of stillness. And here you are at this still center, where the real work can happen. where the part of you that has always known the truth is present and listening. You already know that you as a soul, you as an entity, you as a human, are not the story. And there is a distinction at a level deeper than words. A distinction between the story and the storyteller. Between the content of a life and the one who has been watching that content unfold. And you've been given many stories about yourself. Stories that began before you were old enough to evaluate them. Stories that were delivered with authority and fear, and the particular power that a parent holds over a child who hasn't learned yet that parents can, and often are, be wrong. Maybe you heard words, stories when you were young. You are bad. You are causing this. Thunderstorms, lightning, wind is God's warning, and it's all because of you. And you will never be enough. Others are better than you. Your achievements mean nothing. But you know they weren't truths. They were tools, instruments of control, used by someone who was afraid of losing power over you. Someone who, in the grip of their own limitations and unhappiness, reached for the most powerful lever available, which was the child who loved her and wanted to please her and believed, as many children believe, that what a mother says must be true. And maybe for years, deep down you believed, or at least hoped, that your mother wanted the best for you. She wanted you to do well. And sometimes we only know later that those things we were hoping were never true, never real. Your own deepest experience confirms that you are not and never were those stories. You have never been those stories. You are the one who has been experiencing those stories, watching them, surviving them, and in time questioning them. I want you to use the power of your imagination to think of it in an unusual way. You are the sky, and those stories are clouds. They moved through you, and some of them were very dark and very heavy, and some of them stayed for a long time and seemed like they would never pass. But they were always just the weather passing through the sky, and the sky itself, the awareness that watched them come and go, was never the clouds. You are not the stories told about you. You are the one that's been watching those stories. And you are more capable, more powerful than any words, any stories. Think back, all the way back when you first arrived, with a language you were still learning, how quickly you adapted, met real people, connected. Your desire to study, improve yourself, even though you were carrying the weight of a family's disapproval. The very people that should have been encouraging and congratulating you were criticizing, diminishing all of that hard work and effort. You were always good, always loyal. Tried to make a mother proud. And perhaps it's only recently you realized that void could never have been filled. You were someone growing consistently, making connections, friends, becoming wiser, in spite of all of those attempts to crush you, diminish you, stop you. And the observer self, the sky that held all of that, has been there the entire time, watching, patient, intact. And it is from that observer position that we're speaking now. It's from that position that the work of real liberation begins. Because some people are trapped in chains. Some people are trapped in buildings. But some people are trapped because of emotions, fears. And sometimes those fears are more powerful than chains and brick walls. And that old story, the boy in the village who cried wolf when there was no wolf, not once but many times, got away with it until the village learned that the boy could not be trusted. If it was anyone else other than your mother, 2 or 3 times would have been enough for you not to believe the stories. A child who was told not once or twice but repeatedly, before storms, during storms, after the storms, storms were God's punishment. Lightning was anger. You were to blame. A boy who cried wolf. Stories that were never true. You now know it was never true. But because it came with authority, with the emotional intensity of a parent who had their own reasons for needing the child afraid, and that child's nervous system, which is hardwired to trust attachment figures like parents above all other sources of information, believed it. But look now at that belief with the eyes of the observer self, the one who has been watching all of this time. Because you know what thunder, wind, and lightning really are. Just nature. Thunder is the sound of electrical discharge in the atmosphere. A rapid expansion of air, superheated by lightning, producing a pressure wave that travels as sound And it's been doing it on Earth for 4.5 billion years. Thunder and lightning existed before any human could even assign it a meaning. It has no opinion about you. The Vikings thought it was an angry god. Ignorant people that didn't know better often thought storms were the wrath of God. The end of days and apocalypse. But not once was it ever true. Just nature, just physics. So the meaning that was placed on it was not the storm's meaning. It was just the meaning of a frightened, controlling woman hijacking a religion to control. There are many people across the planet that aren't religious, don't believe in God, but they use religion for power, for manipulation, for coercion, as justification for horrible things. These are not true believers, they're opportunists looking to take a belief and exploit it for their own benefit. This woman cried wolf not once, but across decades. Not just storms, lots of other things too. And each time the wolf was never there. The punishment was not sent. The divine anger was her own anger and frustration at the life she was living. Her own insecurities, her own shame projected onto others. All of these stories about your inadequacies were just a way of deflecting from her own. So now your unconscious can begin to hear thunder differently. Thunder is weather. It's always been weather. Wind is just air pressure moving to different lower pressure. In the same way that if you have a warm room and a cold room and you open the door, the warm room moves to the cold room. That's all wind is. The movement of different temperatures following different pressure in different environments. So let's separate wind from the meaning, thunder from the meaning. Even if you see storm clouds on the horizon, it's just nature. You're not anticipating judgment, punishment, and apocalypse. It's just a sign that weather is on its way. And when the clouds gather, when the sky darkens, when you notice the change in the air or the wind rising, allow your nervous system to interpret this as a different message. It's not danger, not punishment, not your fault. Observe it with interest, curiosity, fascination. Any old emotions come up. Say to yourself, ooh, this is interesting. An echo of a false story I was told is still temporarily having an effect in your body. And the more you greet those sensations with curiosity, intrigue, then the more it dilutes and diminishes. You separate the sound of thunder and the sensation of wind from the meaning that you were forced to attach to it. There is a woman who gave you life, and who then, across the years that followed, abused and used the power that gift gave her in ways that caused you genuine harm. And it may have been not her explicit intention. It could be a person in the grip of their own fear, their own need for control, acting out, sometimes deliberately, sometimes maliciously. It doesn't matter their intention. It matters their impact. You now know that she was not happy. Happiness does not need to reach for control the way she did. Contentment does not require another person's fear to sustain itself. And everything she was doing, the comparisons, the religious threats, the refusal to acknowledge her achievements, interference and opinions in your relationships, was the behavior of someone who themselves was insecure, hurt, ignorant, or a combination of all. This does not excuse it. Understanding a cause does not mean accepting an effect. And I want you to feel proud of that earlier version of you that made that decision with moral courage and religious clarity, that you needed a boundary to protect you and your life. Accepting that someone will not change means empowering yourself to change you and your proximity to that person. It was an act of self-preservation. And you don't need to forgive what cannot yet be forgiven. But maybe you can notice what you are doing when you carry the attachment to this past. When those thoughts about what she said, what she did, what she prevented, what she cost you, if that continues to occupy space in your present, there's still an attachment. And you can choose to break and let go of that attachment. Imagine you are carrying a very heavy bag, and the bag contains every painful thing she said and did, every comparison that diminished you, every storm she weaponized, every opportunity that was narrowed by her control, and every year that passed under the weight of her narrative about who you were. Any humiliation, embarrassment, mocking and laughter. And you've been carrying this bag for a very long time. And for a while that was out of loyalty. And now it might be from resentment, anger, frustration, or just pain. But putting the bag down does not mean any of it was justified. It just means that you're finally ready to move on. Putting the bag down says this was real, it was heavy, it did cost you relationships, opportunities, experiences. It caused real, genuine damage. But if you keep holding onto the bag, it hinders your future. Because your future does not belong to her. It belongs to you. And if your unconscious is ready to place that bag down so you can free up the time, the energy, the space to move forward to that future that's been waiting for you all this time, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. So your unconscious can allow that bag to be placed gently on the ground, not thrown down in anger, not abandoned in denial, placed with full acknowledgement of what it contains, and then stepped away from. The bag represents so much more than a bag. Moving on is you claiming your independence, your ability to choose the life you want, the partner you want, the opportunities you want. She had her opportunity. She wasted it. She exploited it. She does not need to have a seat in the next chapter of your life. What does have a seat is the part of you that survived her. The boy that learned a new language. The man who studied hard, made connections, got wise, developed skills. You've put down the bag of what she did and what she said. You've acknowledged its weight, and you step forward without it. And you step towards that future. And maybe there's a thought that caused you pain, a sense that a train left without you, an idea perhaps it was the last train, a symbolic representation, the one that got away, the life you could have had, partnership, family, a different kind of life. That ship has sailed. And your unconscious can examine this thought with the clear eyes of that part within you with all of your wisdom. The thought that your last train has gone, that the ship has sailed, that you've been left behind on the shelf, is a thought that was produced by a mind still operating under that old story. The story that says you were behind where you should be. It keeps you in the mode of a victim. It keeps you still attached to the bag. But you're different now. You've accomplished so much. And rather than feel continued to be punished, continued to feel the consequences of her words, her choices, her actions. What if now you're at the train station and you can catch any train that you choose? You're at the dock and there is boat after boat, and you get to be discerning as to which train you catch, boat you catch, because you know with irrefutable evidence you can attract, you can connect. That was never the last train. Nothing was missed. You're now liberated. And whether a train or a boat represents an opportunity, a business, a relationship, a family, the very thing holding you back in the past is no longer impeding your present and your future. Rather than feeling weighed down by your past, you can feel liberated by your present and your future. You already know how to find something you value, the qualities you admire. And what if before that heavy bag weighed you down and made you miss that last train, and you realize you're not carrying that bag anymore? And I want you to imagine the future. You with a partner, perhaps young children, outside. And I want you to imagine feeling the wind pick up. See grey clouds on the horizon. And I want you to imagine telling those young children, thunderstorms are fascinating. Let's wait for the storm. The storm is a gift. The storm is nature. Let's watch it together. Maybe you can imagine being in a car or under some shelter, and rather than the anticipation of dread, you can feel the excitement of sharing that thunderstorm with the future you desire. But you are different from your mother. You are telling those children, thunderstorms is a gift from God. It's nature. It's a wonder. Knowing that your children will see your fascination with storms and feel that way for themselves. Hurt people hurt people. Healed people heal people. You are not a victim, you are a survivor. You are not broken, you are resilient. You are not damaged. You are healed. And what if the very best thing you can do is to live a life on your terms, to show someone that always doubted you that they were always wrong? As you breathe in and breathe out, it's time to return to the present. But you return knowing that that big heavy bag has been placed down and left in your past, and you are now free to pursue a future without it. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, starting to wake. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.